We are Group 4 and we are doing the airlines industry.
I'm Jack Gorman. I'm Caden Flaherty.
I'm Sabrina Schultz.
I'm Yoon Kim. Since the birth of flight in 1903, air travel has emerged as a crucial means of transportation for people and products. The 100-plus years following the invention of the first aircraft have brought about a revolution in the way people travel. So the airline business's major industry rely upon by millions not only for transportation but also as a way of making a living. The airline industry exists in an intensely competitive market. So in recent years, there has been an industry-wide shakedown, which will have a far-reaching effects on the industry trends towards expanding domestic and international services. So according to politician and economic trends, the history of airline industry can be separated. First, the early 20th century. Airplanes were around the first few years of the 20th century, but flying was a risky endeavor not commonplace until 1925. In this year, the Air Mail Act facilitated the development of the airline industry by allowing the postmaster to contract with private airlines to deliver mail. Second, mid 20th century. In 1938, the Civil Aeronautic Act established the Civil Aeronautic Board. And third, deregulation. These influenced lead to Congress passing the Airline Deregulation Act of 1978, ushering in an era of unencumbered free market competition. And late 20th century, post deregulation, new carriers rushed into the market. So, 1981 air traffic controls strike brought a temporary setback to the growth, which continued throughout the 1980s. The 21st century, the industry dealt with the effect of another economic downturn as business travel decreased substantially while labor and fuel costs increased.
So for Porter's 5 forces, we'll start with the bargaining power of distributors and buyers. So overall, in the airline industry, they have a lower threat, and this is because there's two different types of buyers in the airline industry, which is the individuals and travel agencies. So this is mainly because both the individual and the travel agencies have all the information on airlines, such as knowledge of demand, market prices, supplier costs, and all of this allows them to compare prices and other information from websites, which allows them to get the best prices for tickets. The next one is the threat of new entrants. This is really low as well, mainly because the cost to get into the airline industry is extremely high to enter into. The next one is the threat of new substitute products, which we put at a medium threat. And this is just mainly because there are other transportation options such as buses, taxis, stuff like that. And you can also have technological communications now, so we can do things with Skype or GoToMeetings, Google Documents, things like that. Our next one is the rivalry of existing firms, which we put as a high threat, and this is mainly because the airline industry, there has become many, there's only about two big competitors now, which is usually like Delta, United, American, things like that. And so with there only being a few now, the threat is really high for existing firms. The next one is bargaining power of other stakeholders, which is also a high threat, and this is just due to airlines offering very similar products.
Now for the steep analysis. First, we have socio-cultural factors that affect the airline industry. So the industry has a positive outlook due to generational trends in consumerism. The millennial generation holds the future of the travel industry. Currently, industry is driven by baby boomers' travel needs, much of that being business related. For instance, in the next 5 to 10 years, the millennial generation will enter their peak earning, spending, and traveling years. Their spending on business travel is expected to grow by 50% of the total by 2020. It's expected to remain strong for around the next 10 years after that. Next, technological. So technology greatly affects the day-to-day operations of the airline industry. One component that is crucial to their bottom line is the innovation in creating internet reservation systems for passengers. Consumers have been increasingly technologically savvy, and airline companies are responding by reducing reservation staff. The IT department within these companies must create a user-friendly booking system that is compatible with internal technology systems. In addition, new technologies in planes also have a direct impact on the industry. New aircraft technology, such as the Boeing 787, reduces fuel consumption and provides flexibility to add more seats. Technological innovations in operations, such as maintenance and engineering, also greatly affect the industry. Economic factors. In the past, economic changes have greatly affected the airline industry. After the recession hit in 2008, consumers were not eager to travel via air as tickets were more expensive than other modes of transportation. Today, however, the global tourism industry is currently booming and could help U.S. airlines increase their market position. To demonstrate this, in 2014, the U.S. real disposable personal income increased by 3.5% in the first quarter. It increased by 3.8% in the second quarter. These positive changes in disposable income in turn increase consumer spending in a variety of airlines. In addition, there has been growth in the air freight market, leaving a substantial opportunity for revenue growth, according to MarketLine. The global air freight sector generated total revenues of $147.5 million in 2015, representing a compound annual growth of 2.3% between 2011 and 2015. Next, ecological. With fuel playing such a large part in the airline industry, it is vital that they are conscious of its impact on the environment. In fact, air travel is responsible for 12% of the total emissions for the transportation industry. To respond to this issue, several air carriers are innovating technology in the types of aircraft they choose to purchase. Some of these include different wing and engine architecture, and also airline companies are turning to using alternative jet fuels to reduce CO2 emissions. And for political and legal, the airline industry is subject to various laws and government regulations concerning environmental matters and employee safety and health in the U.S. and other countries. In addition, the U.S. Department of Transportation keeps an eye on the competitive landscape in the airline industry. The government wants to protect consumer interests and prevent a monopoly.
As far as the future of the airline industry goes, there's kind of some mixed reviews on what we think. But we think that every single aspect of the air travel experience is going to be overhauled, all driven mainly by technology. Mobile technology already plays an important role in enhancing travel, from electronic boarding passes to last-minute bids on, say, class upgrades. Earlier in 2016, Panasonic unveiled a new system that allowed passengers to use their mobile handsets to control aircraft's built-in entertainment. No doubt, technology is going to change the industry from in-flight experience to permanent paperless boarding passes. Technology is going to lead the way. As we have seen over the last few years, our group believes that a few major airlines are going to dominate the market. Mergers such as Delta Northwest in 2008, United and Continental in 2012, and American and U.S. Airways in 2014 are some trends that we think are going to continue to happen. But J.P. Morgan and Morgan Stanley, two banking and research firms, have suggested that a recession might be in the making for the U.S. airline industry. Morgan Stanley believes that the chances of the industry going into a recession stand at about 20%, which is actually below what they said about a year ago when they said it was about 50%. But both research firms do believe that the airline industry will face difficult times this year. Nonetheless, they feel the industry will ensure profitability continues and will try to improve the balance sheets as well. These firms have a strong belief that all these major airlines have great management teams, extensive consolidations, and intense cost-cutting methods that have made the industry has put the industry in a strong position for the future. All major airlines in the U.S. have made significant profits in 2015 compared to the year before. For example, United Airlines alone more than doubled their profits and did in 2014. So it is for these reasons and more that we are convinced as a group that the air industry is headed in the right direction.